So, much welcome to this seminar, and I just before Chris starts with this speech, I want to say something about the program. It will be some minor changes. No super lunch. We will walk together to Hotel Öresund and have their buffet lunch. So it will be more. So I think we change until 1 o'clock. That we will show the exhibition about science and photography, and then we continue with the program, and we also have some more short presentations during the afternoon, and we end with presenting the Irish exhibition. But we will have no buffet there because we will have a proper lunch. So and I think there were several who want to leave a bit earlier than we thought first. But it's very, very nice that you all will come here today and to start this discussion about how we can strengthen the research of photography in several disciplines. And we have been working as a small group for this about a year. And this is we could see as some kind of starting point for this. But I thought that it would be good that we could just say shortly who we are, so that everyone knows. And then we start there, and we will end with Russell Roberts here. So who is the main event today. So if you start.
My name is Anneli Oxenstierna. I work here at the museum as head of education and also one of the curators of this exhibition, AGN3, I would say in English. So that's me.
Hello everybody, Christopher Mathieu, Department of Social Anthropology in Lund. Now one of the speakers this afternoon.
Hello, my name is Pierre. I'm also a photographer. I'm the only one from outside because I'm from Oslo University College. But I'm a Swede, but I've been living in Norway for 47 years. But now I'm back again. So it's,
my name is Victoria Blomberg Book. I'm from Landskrona Foto Festival.
Janne Jönsson, I'm working here at the museum as the head of exhibitions, and I've been curating this exhibition about science and photography together with Anneli over here.
Hej, Ulrika Wennersten, Department of Business Law, School of Economics and Management, Lund University. Interested in mostly intellectual property law.
Britt-Marie Johansson, Associate Professor in Sociology and also the head of the Department of Sociology in Lund.
Hello, I'm Eva Persson from the Pufendorf Institute for Advanced Studies at Lund University, where I work as a coordinator.
Peter, work as a communication officer or something at the Lund University for the Center for Work, Technology and Social Change.
Herr Lindström, I'm a journalist and a friend of Landskrona Foto.
Olof Jarman, I'm a radiologist working with advanced imaging in different forms. I'm also the director for the program for medical informatics at Lund University, working with deep learning and things like that. And then I have a number of companies at Medical Village working with imaging on mobile phones, how to handle that in a healthcare fashion.
Okay, Emma Nilsson. I'm from the Department of Architecture and Built Environment in Lund University. I'm an architect, but also a researcher.
John Nilsson, and I'm an archaeologist, work at Lund University. I'm interested in
connection between art, photo, and archaeology.
On holiday, and playing with history in the afternoon.
My name is Yana Shalva, and I'm associate professor in cognitive science at Lund University, and I'm interested in how we perceive.
And my name is Solveig Sörling. I'm Dean of the Faculty of Fine and Performing Arts, situated in Malmö, but this is Lund University. And I'm also an art historian and a photo historian.
Christopher Mathieu from the Department of Sociology, and I will be the next speaker, so I will remain standing.
I'm Russell, and I should say a little bit more when I speak.
And my name is Göran Nyström, and I'm the head of this project, Landskrona Foto, for the moment. I was former head of relation and culture in Landskrona, and at that time I was very angry if people had this kind of speeches here without using those, because there is always someone that had difficulties in to hear it. So I will try to find the man who takes care of that. But Chris has a loud
Yes.
but I will arrange so we have this facility here. So, Chris?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Shall we see if we can find your presentation?
I have 20 years of training in speaking loudly, and a cold for about a week, so hopefully those two things don't counteract each other. My job is to quickly give you some information about what it is that we at Lund University and Landskrona Foto have been doing for about the past year and a half. So this is, to some extent, kind of a culmination of previous work and invitation to expand the work beyond these people. It was a marriage or a match somewhat made by Mats Hallberg at Kulturskona, or the Cultural Commission in Skåne, who put us together. Sort of we at the Department of Sociology and Landskrona Foto, and we met pretty much for about a year and a half. I don't know when our anniversary is, but about that time. And these are the primary people who have been engaged in the discussions, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what these discussions have pretty much been about. But Region Skåne, or the Cultural Commission of the County of Skåne, has been kind of a matchmaker, and I think they are also involved in financing part of Landskrona Foto's activities. And then from Landskrona Foto, the primary agents we have met is Göran and Per, and we usually meet around the meeting table at the head of the department at sociology, Lady Johansson, and then Arne Arneberg has been part of this for almost the whole time, and then Christopher Mathieu from the Section for Social Anthropology, and then myself. So this is kind of the hard core of who has been sort of meeting and driving this up until now. And then, as the final slide will indicate, we're looking to expand this group and broaden it at both the Landskrona Foto and at Lund University. The purpose of this collaboration is kind of threefold, with the center on photography. The first purpose is to promote an awareness about and promote research on photography at Lund University, and again sort of drawing on the multiple disciplines that are interested in photography at Lund University. The second purpose of the collaboration is to promote awareness and use of photography in research. So again, so the contrast here is between research on photography and then photography in research. And the exhibit that we'll see in the afternoon is primarily about research or photography in research. The second dimension goes beyond Landskrona Foto and beyond the university, and that's pretty much trying to increase the sophistication and increase an awareness about photography within a wider public. So this is what we in the university would call sort of this third activity, or sort of the third domain of the university, involving, going beyond the walls of the academy and involving the wider public. A further interest is in creating a knowledge and a material center for photography here in Landskrona. So building up Landskrona as a sort of a multi-capable, multi-competence center with regard to photography. And then we've begun to catalog, and our approach has been very, very broad. Trying to look at the whole range of areas in which at least we at the university approach photography. And this is all, everything from photography as an art form, so art and aesthetics, the cultural heritage and socio-historical dimension of photography, primarily for the social sciences and humanities, the news and information medium dimension of photography, and then also looking at photography as a commercial vehicle, something that creates value for other dimensions, and then in this dimension you can take advertising photography as something that increases the value of products beyond photography. And then looking at photography also as of economic value in and of itself. So photography as a unit of commercial and economic value. Fifth dimension is photography as a technology and a technological field. And then sort of this final dimension gets back to the role of photography both in research but also the role of photography and the status of photography as a form of knowledge, as a way of knowing, as a way of exploring the world, as a way of documenting the world, as a way of being able to revisit historically the world through still images. And we've worked in a project form. We've worked out the basis for a research project, again, sort of a collaboration between Landskrona Foto as a, what do they call it, a memory institution or a cultural institution, and an institution that has this public display, public exhibition dimension that the university really doesn't have. Certain aspects of the university do have it. There are museums, there's Easton's Museum, there's the Historical Museum, and the library, there's also public outreach, public display. But using Landskrona Foto as the primary display and curatorial and archiving dimension, and then using Lund University as this research and knowledge creation, knowledge dissemination center. So our basic approach is looking at photography as sort of a multifarious, multi-dimension. A fire in here, is it? So, okay, there's been fires in cultural institutions throughout Sweden in this week, so dealing with photography as a public good, but as a multi-dimensional public good, and that's part of what we've been actually trying to understand is sort of all the dimensions of photography as a public good when we're trying to work up this research project. And then sort of the primary focus of the research basic interrelated things. The first is inventory, sort of trying to discover what collections exist in our proximate area or within Skåne. So there's this sort of idea of what exists, where does it exist, and what is at risk, and what are the risks that are threatening these collections. And again, sort of this leading into the second dimension of sort of what should be prioritized, what should be selection, and how do we go about a selection process. Again, when faced with limited resources and an overwhelming need, how do we deal with the selection process? And then this question about sort of what should be prioritized depends on sort of what is it that we value, and not just what is it that we value from our existing multidisciplinary points of view, but what is it, speculating about what is it that will be valued and useful in the future as well. So this is sort of a very, very complex and not a very, very easy process. And again, sort of because we have this ambition to actually do something, sort of preservation, development, and presentation, we will be involved in a selection process. So we're trying to develop a very both rigorous but also sort of forward-thinking and reflexive selection process. And then for what is selected, sort of how do we develop collections prior to presentation? And then this is both sort of how do we develop physical dimensions of the collections and what we choose to preserve, but also how do we develop knowledge of and knowledge about and knowledge around. So attaching this knowledge, which I sort of shorthandedly call sort of metadata around collections, around processes, and around single images as well. And then sort of there's this dimension of actually doing active preservation of what it is that's selected and what is it that's developed. And here pretty much the role of the university ends, and this is where sort of Landskrona Foto takes over with regard to preservation and presentation and exhibition. But also sort of using the knowledge that the university part can supply with regard to presentation and exhibition. So that there is both an ambition to develop a model or a way of doing these things, but also carry them out and use this sort of practical experience from actually carrying out these different tasks or different steps as a way of developing the model, and then at the end trying to diffuse the model or diffuse our experience to the wider communities that might be interested in this. And so this is the final slide, and this is pretty much why we're here today, and that is to sort of develop outward-reaching collaborations. And again, sort of we've identified different types of stakeholders who we like to develop collaborations with. The first is sort of the people who have or purvey over the photo collections and the photo archives that we would like to involve in these activities. And then also with regional or national cultural and historical institutions, museums, other public exposition and exhibition platforms. Also have ideas about using a facility, the Kufendorf Center, the Kufendorf Institute at the university as a center for collecting the people from the university who have an interest in developing both this field and this collaboration. So using the Center for Advanced Studies at the university as a sort of a catalyst for both developing ideas, developing procedures, and spreading knowledge beyond